Hey YouTube, this is Andy. Welcome back to Get Your Wellies. Last time you were with me, we built this wicking tub. Today, we're going to talk about the soil that we need to use that actually wicks the water up to the plants. So we're going to make some of that soil today so we can make this tub ready to take some plants. Before we do that, get your wellies. Meet me in the garden. Hey YouTube, this is Andy with Get Your Wellies. Welcome back to the garden. Today we're going to make this soil mix that is for the wicking tub that we built last time. It also works great in any other kind of wicking tub, any kind of rain gutter grow system. It's a really good formula. I'm going to make it super easy so there's not a whole lot of variations to this. Now you can certainly create your own. But let's show you the basic way to do this. Works really well for me. I'm going to get some things together and we'll go back and show you what you're going to need to mix to make this soil. See you in a minute. Okay, gardeners, so the first ingredient that we're going to use is peat moss. This composes about 2/3 of the mix of our soil. This is relatively inexpensive. I believe I paid about $12 for this at one of the big box stores. So this also goes a long way because it's compacted when you buy it, kind of heavy in the bag, but then when you take it out, it's nice and light and fluffy. In and of itself, it has virtually no nutrients for plants. So bear that in mind. 2/3 of what we're using is going to have very little nutrient in it. So whatever we do put in with that needs to be pretty high in nutrients. The main reason we're using peat moss is its affinity to draw water. And so that's why we're going to use 2/3 peat moss. And I'll show you how I do this in just a second. Now the second ingredient can be either one of these. So this is a potting mix. When you go to buy this, be sure you get potting mix and not potting soil. There is a totally different component. It actually does contain more peat, so it will wick. Soil, the potting soil will not wick in the same way, so really don't want to use that. The other alternative you can use is a cow manure. Now you can get horse manure, that's fine too. I like to get the black cow. It's available at big box stores. What's good about this is it's been around for years. It has been composted already, so very nutritious, much like the potting mix. And you're going to add a few things when you plant your plants in your tub. You're going to want to add a few things under your plants anyway. So we'll talk about that when we get to planting. Now you can use either one of these. The mixes you can sometimes get on sale. So that's why I'm giving you options, excuse me, here, because you may find they have a really good sale on a potting mix. It doesn't have to be a brand name potting mix either. Don't be fooled by some of the advertisements on there that say that it's good for 3 months of nutrients and all of those things. They're all much of a muchness. So I would get whatever is cheapest, but be sure it's a potting mix. Or if they have the black cow or another cow manure on sale, I would get that. Caution about manure would be a lot of people who raise cattle and horses are feeding their animals hay from outside of their property, or hay that's been sprayed with herbicides on their property. And either way, those herbicides pass right through that animal, wind up in the manure, and those herbicides are designed to kill broad-leafed plants, which unfortunately is all of your garden plants. So I go safe with a brand like Black Cow when I'm using a cow manure. And the last thing that you'll need is some perlite. This works as an aggregate for your tub. It allows the wicking action to continue, but it also allows it to be kind of airy and fluffy, which is the best way for your roots to do well. So those are the 3 ingredients. Let's take a look at a couple of things we might need to mix this up. Next, let's talk about how we're going to mix it. So I'm going to use a 5-gallon bucket because our tub holds 17 gallons. We've already put irrigation pipe in the bottom, so that's going to reduce the total volume. So 15 gallons is going to be about right for the amount of soil we need in our wicking tub. But you could use a 1-gallon bucket, you could use whatever. If you have a real small wicking container, you could make literally a few cups of this. But the important part is, if you use 2 portions of your peat moss and it's 5 gallons each, then that means you will need 1 gallon of your either cow manure or potting mix. So just remember that. Since the wicking tub is actually 17 gallons and we've already put irrigation pipe on the bottom, 15 gallons is going to be about right. So I'm going to do 2 5-gallon buckets of peat moss, and I'm going to do 1 5-gallon bucket. I'm going to use the potting mix for this today, and then we'll see what else we're going to add there at the end. Okay, another important point, guys, is we've got to have something to mix this up in. So a couple options here. I'm going to use my lawn rover to mix my soil in. If you have a large tub or another one of those 17-gallon tubs, you could use that. And here's Chrissy coming to help again. She's getting kind of hot today. She always likes to show up when we're filming out here. So just make sure you got something good to mix in. If you don't have anything like that, you could just do it on a tarp on the ground also. So I'm gonna go to work mixing some stuff up. I'm gonna put the ingredients in, and then I'm gonna mix it all by hand. Get my hands in the soil today. Nothing like the feel of peat moss and compost on your hands. It's great. All right, gardeners, so the other thing that we will want to add is perlite. I add about 4 solo cups of perlite. You can add a bit more if you want to, but this helps it to drain. We want it to wick, but we also want it to be able to not get soggy. So perlite really works good for this. So we're going to put 4 cups in there. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. All right, I'm gonna put the camera down for a second while I mix all that in. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is what the finished mix looks like. It's right now pretty light and fluffy. The thing I would also tell you, at this point, you really need to add some water to this before you put it in the pot or tub or bucket or whatever you're going to be using it in, because if it's too dry, it will take literally days and days before it'll absorb any water from the bottom. It needs to have some amount of moisture in it to start the capillary action of it drawing fluid up from the bottom. So just be sure and dampen it off. You don't have to absolutely saturate it. You just want it nice and moist for when you get ready to plant. Okay guys, so let's water our soil down a little bit so we can get this into the tub here in a little while. Just gonna give it kind of a fairly good soak on the top. Let it absorb down a little bit. That was a mistake I made the first time. I just put this in the bucket and expected it to work right away and wondered why it wouldn't. and kind of found out the hard way you have to do all this on the front end so that it works good. Also, you'll notice if your buckets ever get to dry out completely, you'll probably want to top water for a few times for the same reason. Once that bucket gets dry, if you should run out of water for several days and it's out in the heat and gets totally dry, then it won't, it just won't work right. Well, YouTube, here's the finished product. Here's the soil. I'm going to be putting mine in my wicking tub that we made the other day this evening. Put something in there to grow. In the meantime, thank you so much, guys, for coming to visit me today, learning how to make some soil mix for your wicking tubs and buckets. Thanks, guys, for visiting with me today and learning how to make soil mix for your wicking tub. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we also have our Facebook group page open. It's called Get Your Wellies. So if you have any questions, comments, if there's anything you would like to see featured on Get Your Wellies at a later date, then please feel free to go over there, join me, and ask those questions. You'll have a great rest of the day. Bye now.